Part 30. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhone. Chapter 291. Lin Xian. Mueller. The two hands were held together. Lin Xian and the middle-aged man in front of him also looked at each other at the same time. In an instant, I felt the aura of the same kind on the other person's body. Police King. Lin Xian looked at each other calmly. This is a typical man from a hop country. He is tall, and his demeanor exudes stability and strength. His eyes are deep, showing typical Germanic rigor and stability. But his eyes were very sharp, like two files. When you look over, you will have the illusion that he is seeing through your mind. The other party was also sizing up Lin Xian. Amazing and incomprehensible. Lin Xian can find out that he is the police king. Mueller can also discover Lin Xian's strength. No, it's more than powerful. He was obviously aware that the young man from the Dragon Kingdom in front of him was very scary. His senses were also telling him crazily, this was a monster bound by chains. Once the shackles were opened, this handsome young man who looked harmless and gave people a sense of sunshine would turn into a devil. This is what Lin Xian often says, never treat others as fools. You thought you hid it well. But in front of some people, they can detect your abnormality in minutes. Just like those kings of soldiers and warriors. Everyone could instantly sense how terrifying Lin Xian was. It's obvious that Mueller's insight is not bad either. A task force formed by the Dragon Kingdom and the Hop Kingdom was established. There are 18 people in total. There are 9 people each from Long Guofang and Jiwaguo. Has the absolute power to deploy the cooperation of the Frankfurt police. When necessary, special police support can be mobilized. Since the cause of Wang Jing's death was homicide, the incident itself was very serious. An assassination specifically targeted at a top scientist from the Dragon Kingdom. It's self-evident if you think about who is behind it and what kind of power it has. In order to prove its innocence, the Hop country must vigorously cooperate with the Dragon country. Apartment building, crime scene. Lin Xian and Mueller stood in the living room with their brows furrowed. They have already investigated the crime scene. It is almost impossible to play tricks in front of two police kings. No trace of intrusion, no trace of external force, no trace of machine. Is it possible for a living person to have his brain destroyed and killed at home? According to their analysis, this is completely beyond human control. For them, it is even less likely to believe in strange powers and chaotic gods. Lin Xian has specifically asked domestic experts to analyze it. The murderer must have used some kind of high-tech equipment or tools. The assassination was carried out without touching Wang Jing or damaging his body. If such equipment does exist, it is beyond the scope of the police's capabilities. They are just police, not omniscient and omnipotent gods. If you can understand this kind of tool, wouldn't it be better to just do scientific research? Why should you be a policeman? What do you think? Mueller's eyes moved away from the fixed line of scene traces on the ground and looked at Lin Xian beside him. My point of view. Lin Xian smiled half-heartedly and looked at the other party with cold eyes. Will you help me wholeheartedly? Mueller was silent, a little embarrassed and a little angry. Silence, of course, because of the meaning of this sentence. Because anyone with a normal mind would know that this matter was most likely done by someone from the Hop country. It was embarrassing, but also because the murderer probably had some purpose in killing the Long Kingdom scientists. The secrets about Wang Jing may be kept in the Zhuhua Kingdom and not allowed to be brought back to the Dragon Kingdom. How could Mueller not understand this? This is why Lin Xian was so embarrassed when he asked this question. But anger. It was Lin Xian who questioned him, questioned a policeman, and questioned his integrity. I'm a police officer. Mueller spoke every word, looking into Lin Xian's eyes coldly. Suddenly, they laughed together again. They all discovered that the other party was a pure policeman. But for Lin Xian, it didn't make any sense. Like, if we face the interests between countries, Lin Xian will not hesitate to throw away his integrity and abandon police justice. Stand unconditionally on the side of the Dragon Kingdom. Come to think of it, the other party is the same. There is no comparison at all between eradicating violence and protecting the country. Which one is more important? Normal people know how to choose. Let's eat. Mueller invited. It's already 7 o'clock in the evening. No. Lin Xian shook his head. I'll continue to check. Mueller shrugged and left with his subordinates. He didn't think Lin Xian could find anything. This is not because he despises Lin Xian, but because there is really nothing to check. Wait until Mueller's people leave. The smile on Lin Xian's face gradually turned cold, like ice. He stood calmly on the spot trace fixation line, and then slowly squatted down. Did you notice it? Lin Suanru seemed to be muttering. Wang Meng and others nodded. Wang Jing's death was unusual. Maybe they didn't see it at first. But now, I feel something is wrong. For example, although Wang Jing's death was caused by someone destroying his brain, but the real cause of death was suffocation. Judging from the scene traces and fixed lines on the ground, as well as the photos taken by the Hop Country police after his death, it was as if a person suddenly died, fell to the ground, and passed away peacefully. There was not the slightest struggle. What's wrong with this? As mentioned before, it is impossible not to struggle when suffocating. This is the natural reaction of the human body. As long as there is no instant death, the body will show signs of self-rescue. The limbs will react naturally and struggle naturally. Lin Xian can think of this, and Wang Meng and others can also think of it. It is because of this. Is there a way to control a person from struggling when he is about to die? The answer is, yes. How to control, and without touching the body of the deceased. Lin Xian had a bold idea. But as soon as this idea came up, his expression was already uncontrollably unbelievable. Suicide, Lin Xian muttered to himself. Hearing his words, the expressions of the team members were wonderful. Each one seemed to have seen a living ghost. Shocked, confused, incomprehensible, and also unbelievable. How is it possible? Wang Jing is the top scientist in Longguo. Even ants are greedy for life, so how can people not cherish their lives? Why did he commit suicide? Soon, including Lin Xian, everyone's face became heavy and gloomy. I thought of a possibility. Is it possible that Wang Jing deliberately used this method to die, in order to let the people of Longguo reach him as quickly as possible? Because he knew that he was likely to die, and he knew that he would definitely die. However, he didn't want to die at the hands of others, so he took the initiative. Kill yourself? If the reasoning is correct, what is the purpose? Lin Xian guessed a possibility. Scientific research results. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Xiong. Chapter 292. September was hot even at night. Lin Xian was cold all over, as if he was in an ice cellar. In his heart, there was an uncontrollable anger surging and boiling. He exuded a terrifying murderous aura, which frightened the team members around him. But in an instant, the terrifying murderous aura disappeared without a trace. Even Lin Xian's expression became calm. He slowly closed his eyes. After a while, he opened them. His eyes also returned to calm. Since there is already a hypothesis, you can continue to check based on this hypothesis. It doesn't matter if it's wrong. They have plenty of time now. Lin Xian stood up. He wanted to do an experiment. Use this experiment to determine whether his reasoning is valid. At the same time, he also wanted to confirm one thing. Lin Xian walked step by step in the apartment. This time, he was not observing the apartment, but the surveillance in the apartment. This was the surveillance that was temporarily installed after the Longguo personnel arrived yesterday. On the surface, it is said, recording the investigation of the Dragon Country personnel on the scene, but in fact it is to prevent the Dragon Country people from destroying the scene. Many people understand this principle, frame up. Just like the people of Zhuhua country are preventing the Dragon Country people from making tampering at the scene and framing others. Don't think that this kind of thing will not happen. The West is best at this method. Is it really so? Is it possible that these monitoring equipment is a monitoring method? Are you worried that the Dragon Country people will find something? Or are you worried that the Dragon Country people will take something away? While walking, Lin Xian can clearly sense that there is a camera's view, following him. At the same time, he also found that these cameras covered the entire apartment without blind spots. Any action of the Dragon Country people, anything they touched, or anything they saw, will be captured by the camera. The more this happened, the brighter Lin Xian's eyes became. What was his reasoning just now? Wang Jing's death was suicide. In order to let the Dragon Country people come to him quickly. The purpose is scientific research results. Assuming that it is true. Is it possible that this research result is still in Wang Jing's hands and has not been found by someone? And those cameras are monitoring them to see if they can find this research result. That's why they monitor the apartment in all directions without blind spots. Are they worried that they will find it? Or are they worried that they will take this research result away? So, even they haven't found this research result. Is it still hidden in the apartment? If so, why does Wang Jing think that as long as Longguo comes to his side, he can find this research result? Lin Xian's brain is completely boiling, running faster than an overloaded CPU. He analyzed too many possibilities and deduced countless possibilities. Suddenly, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He turned his head suddenly and looked at the French window. In the moment just now, he felt a gaze. But this gaze appeared quickly and disappeared even faster. Soldier King. There is absolutely no mistake, that is the look of the Soldier King. Why are there soldiers, and soldiers of this level? Since one has appeared, it is very likely that more will appear. What are they going to do? Lin Xian's heart sank to the bottom of the valley, and his expression gradually became solemn. A strong sense of crisis made him calm down quickly. Without any hesitation, he ordered Wang Meng beside him, contact the consulate. Everyone was slightly stunned. Wang Meng took out his mobile phone and contacted the staff of Longguo's local consulate. The call was connected. Lin Xian took the phone and said in a deep voice, arrange my subordinates to return home. Everyone was stunned. Even the people in the consulate were stunned. What is Lin Xian going to do? His perception told him that a crisis could break out at any time. He could guarantee that he would not die and had the ability to fight back. What about his subordinates? Except for Guo Su, the Soldier King, everyone else can only be regarded as ordinary people. Even if Guo Su, the Soldier King, faced the power of a country, it was also an ant-like existence. He would be crushed to pieces by a state machine. So, they had to go. Only when they left could Lin Xian let go. The people from the consulate arrived soon. Wang Meng and others did not hesitate and followed the people from Longguo's consulate. They also knew it very well. Lin Xian must have noticed something. And if they stayed, they would only become a burden to Lin Xian and hold him back. The departure of Wang Meng and others also attracted Mueller. The police king of Zhuhua country looked at Lin Xian in front of him with a strange expression, what's wrong? Nothing. Lin Xian did not explain, but just said a strange sentence, I just hope that you can be just a policeman like you said in the end. Mueller did not understand what Lin Xian said. But He inexplicably felt an unprecedented, life-and-death crisis. Lin Xian continued to survey the apartment and looked at everything in the apartment. As for the perceived crisis, he had already forgotten it. He was looking for something. If the reasoning is established, Wang Jing must have left something to Longguo. Something that only Longguo people can find. He walked slowly in the apartment, observing all the objects he could see. Floors, walls, sofas, decorations, all furnishings, nothing was spared. As long as Lin Xian's eyes can see it, he will investigate it carefully. Mueller, who had been following him all the time, changed his expression. Discovered what the young man from the dragon country in front of him was looking for. It's not about investigating a case, or looking for clues and traces. Could it be that he no longer cares about the death of the Dragon Kingdom scientist? In the blink of an eye, one day, Lin Xian never left the apartment. When you are hungry or thirsty, eat some bread and water. When I felt sleepy, I sat in front of the apartment and took a nap. Then, continue the exploration. Lin Xian couldn't feel any fatigue, and adrenaline was secreted crazily. His brain cells are also in a highly active state. Exploring over and over again, checking over and over again. All the items in the apartment have been checked by him countless times. Of course, Lin Xian doesn't think that he is smarter than others. If others can't find Wang Jing's hidden things, he will definitely find them. But there is one thing I am confident about. Since Wang Jing let them pass, then things will definitely be put into their hands. Only people from the Dragon Kingdom can find it, huh? Lin Xian stood in the study, looking at a wall and a picture frame. There is no painting in the frame, but an embroidery. This kind of thing is very common in the Dragon Kingdom. Some girls especially like to play. There are also many tools for sale online that you can buy and embroider yourself. But Wang Jing is over 50, but he is still a man. How could he like this kind of thing and go so far as to embroider it, frame it, and hang it on the wall? The embroidery inside the frame is also very simple, even funny. As long as you are from the Dragon Kingdom, you only need to watch a costume movie starring a certain famous actor seen yet. Tangbo who lights autumn fragrance. Everyone knows what the paintings on the embroidery in front of them are. Tangbo who's famous painting, picture of a chicken eating rice. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 293. Seeing this picture, anyone with a low sense of humor may want to laugh. But Lin Xian's face was extremely gloomy, cold, and he couldn't laugh. There is a top scientist in Longguo who may have done something for his motherland with his life. Can you still laugh? Lin Xian has actually seen this embroidery more than a dozen times and checked it several times. Why did he notice it now? Because this embroidery is the only item in the entire apartment with strong Longguo elements. In the case of nothing being found, it is particularly prominent. As long as you are a Longguo person, you are good at criminal investigation. It's hard for you not to pay attention to it. Since Lin Xian can notice it, others can definitely pay attention to it. If there is a problem with it, will others not be able to see it and leave clues to him? Yes. Others can't see it. Because foreigners definitely don't understand the chicken eating rice picture. How many foreigners have seen the movie Flirting Scholar? Even if they have checked this picture of a chick eating rice, can they analyze what it means? So, what does this chick pecking rice represent in that movie? It means pretending to know something when you don't know it, showing off one's skills before an expert. The general idea of this plot is: there is a fool pretending to be Tang Bohu, and he is asked to draw a picture of 100 birds paying homage to the phoenix. As a result, he drew a picture of a chick eating rice. Various information and clues on the embroidery quickly gathered in Lin Xian's brain. His mind once again ran like a CPU, analyzing and guessing. Unconsciously, Lin Xian entered a strange state. Standing motionless in front of the embroidery, as if petrified. Time was passing quickly. 10 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours. Suddenly, Lin Xian suddenly closed his eyes, opened them again, and his eyes were tired. But his face showed ecstasy and excitement. The whole picture of a chick eating rice means that someone is pretending to be Tang Bohu, pretending to know something when he doesn't know it. Explain that the meaning of this picture is false, to deceive people. You want to see the truth through this picture, to see what it represents? Is this what it means? If so, first, it is a chicken. A chicken can represent a country, the Dragon Country. Because the territory of the Dragon Country is like a rooster. A chicken eating rice means that the chicken is eating. Is it talking about the place where it eats? The rice on the ground is for eating, but it can also be a number. There are 2 piles in total. One pile has 5, and the other has 16. The total is 21. It can be 2 numbers or 3 numbers. These numbers represent some meanings, represent the key. Let's take a look at the chicken. Suppose, this picture is not a chicken. What does it represent? Look carefully. The chicken's claws look very much like 2 big trees. And the chicken's body also looks like a tree crown. Look more carefully. The chicken's eyes are like an object. Hidden in the 2 big trees, it is very obvious. Longguo, eating, numbers, big trees, eyes. Suddenly, a light flashed in Lin Xian's eyes. Remember before coming to this test area. Passing by a street, there is a Chinese restaurant next to the street, and outside the restaurant, there are 2 big trees. Chinese in Chinese restaurant, Longguo. Chicken eating, Chinese restaurant. The 2 big trees outside the restaurant are chicken claws. The body of the chicken is the crown of the 2 big trees. Lin Xian sighed. My Professor Wang, you are really awesome. This is Lin Xian's memory that can be compared to photographic memory. As long as he has seen something, he will hardly forget it. So, the thing is not in the apartment. Hidden in the big tree outside the restaurant? However, Lin Xian's every move was captured clearly by the camera at this time. Seeing the smile on Lin Xian's face, many people changed their faces. A certain place, a certain room. A person was standing in front of the monitor, staring at Lin Xian in the surveillance screen. He found it. Lin Xian left the study, walked through the hall, and left Muller's side. Ignoring the Zhuhua country police, he walked out of the apartment. He had to take that thing and leave quickly. Leave Zhuhua country, but not now. Where are you going? Muller followed quickly, staring at Lin Xian. And behind him, there were 8 Zhuhua country police. Are you sure you want to follow me? Outside the apartment building, Lin Xian's eyes were very complicated, as if he was looking at a group of fools. When he was in the apartment, he had already noticed that someone was staring at him with a surveillance camera. Especially when he cracked the picture of a chicken eating rice. He vaguely sensed an indescribable danger. Some people who were watching him should have guessed what he had found. So next, will those people have any small moves? If those people are also running for the things left by Wang Zheng, or they want to prevent something from being taken away by Lin Xian, guess what they will do? Just now, Lin Xian deliberately ignored Mueller and the police to arouse their curiosity. He was maliciously fishing. The purpose was to get these police officers from Zhuhua country to follow him. Why did he do this? Because I need to defend myself. What's the meaning? Mueller stared into Lin Xian's eyes. Let's go. Lin Xian got into a national police car. Mueller frowned and waved his hand. He and his subordinates quickly got into the car. Two police cars drove out of the research institute area and headed towards the Consulate General of Longguo. Passing by a certain restaurant, Lin Xian pretended not to see it. He was probing, experimenting, and even fishing. Lin Xian wanted to see if his analysis was correct. Could someone be plotting against him? Don't talk about anything and just go get what Wang Jing left behind. You may be surrounded before you can get it. Don't worry if you are shot. Remember, this is the kingdom of hops, not the kingdom of dragons. And now. Lin Xian gave people the impression that he was about to run away. Run back to the Dragon Kingdom Consulate General. What would you do if you were the other person? Two police cars were speeding down the road. It's only 40 minutes away from the Longguo Consulate General in Frankfurt. 20 minutes later, about 3 kilometers away, two black commercial vehicles appeared, parked grandly on the road. The car door opens. A group of heavily armed men got out of the car. They exude evil spirits and hold weapons. There are sniper rifles, assault rifles, heavy machine guns, submachine guns, shotguns. Each one wore a black hood, with only two eyes exposed. But from their actions, it can be seen that they are a group of well-disciplined soldiers. Has quite skilled tactical coordination. The sniper had climbed onto the roof of the car, setting up his gun. The two assaulters ran for cover off the road. The machine gunner picked up a portable rapid-fire heavy machine gun. Hidden behind the car are people armed with microchargers and shotguns, ready to cooperate at any time. About 5 minutes. Sudden. Two police cars appeared on the road and appeared in their sight. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun. Chapter 294. Inside the police car. Lin Xian's heart suddenly sank, and he had a bad premonition. In an instant, his pupils suddenly contracted. A feeling of life and death crisis surged in his heart. His eyes looked at the road 200 meters away. He saw a figure as strong as a mountain. He saw that the other party was holding a heavy machine gun in his hand. Stop, Lin Xian roared. Mueller and his subordinates were startled by his roar and had not yet reacted to what happened. The policeman who was driving did not stop either. 150 meters. Lin Xian could not wait and stood up instantly. Under the stunned gaze of Mueller and others, he hit the car door glass. Boom. He crashed out of the car and jumped out of the car. At the same time. Tut tut tut. On the road in the distance, the machine gunner pulled the trigger. The muzzle of the heavy machine gun spewed flames. The bullets fired poured like a storm, as if to turn everything in the way into powder. Bullets hit the police car like a storm, and terrifying craters appeared one after another. The policeman driving the car was shot into a hornet's nest on the spot, and even his body was shattered by the terrifying bullets. The police car stopped. The rear door opened, and Mueller and his subordinates rushed out of the car, rolling and crawling, hiding behind the car. But it was useless. Bang, a terrifying roar. A 12.7 mm sniper bullet directly penetrated the police car. It penetrated through a policeman hiding behind the car. It tore his body apart, and blood and flesh flew everywhere. Mueller, who saw the scene at close range, was scared and lay on the ground. At the same time, the police car behind had also stopped, and 5 policemen rushed down. Da-da-da. Rifles, submachine guns, fired wildly from a distance. Pour bullets at them. The rain of bullets instantly submerged these policemen in a sea of firepower. It was terrifying and desperate. Mueller's thigh was hit by a stray bullet and he lay on the ground. His eyes and expression were so blank. Why? Who wanted to kill them? Who dared to shoot at the police from Zhuhua country on the street? Why did they have sniper rifles, and submachine guns? Countless question marks intertwined and gathered in Mueller's mind. Until it turned into a very affirmative answer. Jihua country soldiers, even special forces. This is Frankfurt. Otherwise, who else would they be? Mueller was angry, desperate, and even unwilling. Suddenly, Mueller was stunned. What about the young man from Longguo? Not only did this question pop up in his mind. Even the masked people who fired in the distance had such questions. Just now they vaguely saw someone jumping out of the car. But that person seemed to have disappeared. How did a living person disappear? No, Lin Xian did not disappear. Instead, he jumped into the drainage ditch beside the road after jumping out of the car. This kind of drainage ditch is almost available on some roads. It can prevent water from accumulating on the road and drain the water away. At this moment, Lin Xian is running. He uses his hands and feet and runs on all fours. Like a cheetah, his whole body is hidden in the drainage ditch and running. From the initial 100 meters, to 50 meters, 30 meters, 10 meters. Lin Xian's terrifying speed is like a cannonball. He has appeared on the left side of the two commercial vehicles. He jumped out of the drainage ditch in an instant. He appeared behind a commercial vehicle and stood in front of a hooded man holding a shotgun. Almost at the moment when the hooded man was shocked by Lin Xian's appearance and wanted to pull the trigger. Lin Xian's hand stretched out like lightning. He grabbed the barrel of the shotgun and pulled it. Under the influence of inhuman strength, he easily took the shotgun from the other party's hand. The barrel turned with the palm of his hand, and the muzzle was aimed at the face of the hooded man. Boom, a single-headed bullet was ejected. The hooded man's head exploded instantly. Lin Xian dropped the shotgun and pulled out the pistol from the hooded man's waist. While grabbing the gun, he also opened the safety. Bang, 5 shots in 1 second. The hooded men next to the two commercial vehicles didn't even have a chance to react. 5 people were shot in the head. After several battles between soldiers. Now, except for the soldiers, even the king of soldiers are like ants in Lin Xian's eyes. Without the ability of the soldiers, how could these people avoid his shooting? Bang, 3 shots in half a second. The heavy machine gunner and the assaulters on both sides of the road ahead. Headshot. Lin Xian flew into the air. Jumped onto the roof of the commercial vehicle. The sniper in the car didn't even have time to react. Just turned around. A fist fell from the sky. Bang. Hit the sniper's chest. Directly hit the chest cavity. Even the carport below was dented by this punch. The sniper opened his mouth wide, looking at Lin Xian who was holding his fist in front of him. No breath, no eyes to close. Lin Xian stepped out of the commercial vehicle and opened a door. Inside the car, a blonde and blue-eyed woman was looking at him with a pale face. Hello. Lin Xian bared his teeth and stretched out his palm. Grabbed the other person's hair. Ignoring the woman's screams of pain. He grabbed her out of the car and dragged her on the road. He walked towards the 2 police cars in the distance. Under Lin Xian's strange power, the woman's struggle was so ridiculous and futile. She was as fragile as a little chicken. After a while, her clothes and thighs were torn because of the dragging. Several lines of blood were left on the ground. No, don't. The woman screamed and begged. Bang. Lin Xian kicked the woman in the face. The world was quiet. He continued to drag the unconscious woman to Mueller, who was lying on the ground after being shot, and threw her away. Mueller, holding a pistol, looked at Lin Xian with a dull expression. Lin Xian was also looking at him. Neither of them spoke. Because they knew very well what kind of people attacked them. Are you angry? Lin Xian took out a pack of cigarettes, took out a cigarette, lit it, and took a puff. Angry. Mueller sighed, is it useful? It seems to be useless. Lin Xian smiled and exhaled a puff of smoke, pointing at the unconscious blonde woman. Do you know her? Mueller sat up, looked at the woman's face, suddenly his face changed, and said a few words. Federal Constitutional Protection Bureau. Lin Xian was slightly stunned. What is that? But he soon thought of it. Federal Constitutional Protection Bureau, the intelligence department of Zhuhua country. There are a total of 7 combat intelligence and technology departments. As of 2016, the Federal Constitutional Protection Bureau seems to have less than 3,000 people. All of them are special agents. This does not mean that they are all 007, but they are engaged in national security and intelligence work. It's like the woman in front of him is a rookie, but it doesn't mean that she is not competent for the job. Lin Xian took out a mobile phone and wanted to call the Dragon Consulate General. 2 seconds later, his face changed. Looking around, he laughed. Is the signal base station blocked? It can be seen that some people want to kill him. They don't even give him the opportunity to contact the outside world. They even staged a terrorist attack for this purpose, and did not even spare their own police. Is that right? Well, don't worry about such trivial matters. Lin Xian smiled and looked at Mueller in front of him. I have a better idea now. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 295. 5 minutes. Lin Xian brought a sniper rifle, a microflush, and a self-defense pistol. There are several magazines and bullets, as well as 2 blast bombs and fragmentation grenades. He took his time and put on his bulletproof tactical vest. Wear all weapons on your body. What are you up to? Seeing Lin Xian's appearance at this time, Mueller was frightened. Just now, he had watched Lin Xian's killing. He wiped out a special operations team with 1 person. At that time, Lin Xian was still empty-handed and fighting with the stolen weapons. At this moment, what kind of fighting power will the fully armed Lin Xian unleash? Mueller didn't dare to think about it. What? Lin Xian smiled and said, of course I'm going to hum people from your hop country. Mueller. He was inexplicably funny, angry, and helpless. You are willing to be killed by your own country for no reason, whatever you want. Lin Xian looked at the king of the national police in front of him. But if you dare to stop me, I will kill you as well. Is that okay? Is it okay with me, or are you forcing me to say that it's okay with me? Mueller responded with a wry smile. Does he want to die? I definitely don't want to, especially being killed for no reason. It can even be said that he is a little disappointed in his country now. Sometimes in the face of national justice, citizens are willing to sacrifice for the country. But it doesn't mean that you are willing to die with no value at all. 2 hop country policemen stood beside Mueller, both looking at him with angry faces. This is not resentment against Mueller, but that they also understand at this time that they are being treated as cannon fodder. Beside it were the bodies of 7 partners who had been together day and night. Who else would it be, who wouldn't be angry? They are all human beings, and they used to eliminate evil and promote good in the Zhuhua country. Is this how the country treats them? Collect body camera footage. Mueller gritted his teeth and issued the order. Start by investigating the Wang Jing case. They all have law enforcement recorders on them, which are turned on throughout the entire process. The entire attack was also videotaped. If these videos are exposed, it will definitely cause a sensation. Can you give me one? Lin Xian asked with a smile. Do we dare not give it? The corners of Mueller's mouth twitched. If they dare not give it, Lin Xian will point his gun at them without hesitation, right? After seeing Lin Xian's horrific killing, Mueller didn't want to die without any value. Less than 5 minutes. Body camera videos, including those on 7 police bodies, were specially collected. Collected in 2 body cameras, Mueller took one. Lin Xian took the other one. Until then. Lin Xuanke looked at the unconscious woman on the ground. I hope this woman can give him some surprises. A sharp pain came over me. The blonde woke up from the pain. When she saw Lin Xian standing in front of her, her body was shaking crazily and her face was as pale as paper. Those green eyes were full of despair and panic, as if they were trapped in an inescapable nightmare. Excuse me. Lin Xian smiled at Mueller. Lift your legs and step down. Click. The woman's calf was crushed instantly. Ah! The woman's screams were shrill and harsh. It was like being pierced into the heart with a sharp instrument, which made people unbearable to hear and chilled their hearts. Mueller and the other two police officers turned their heads and couldn't bear to stare. They knew very well what Lin Xian's "I'm sorry" meant. He was talking about ravaging the people of the Hop country in front of them. And you don't have any temper at all. Why, just allow your people to come and kill me, can't I fight back? If they really dare to think this way. Do you believe that Lin Xian can cut off their heads and fart? Snapped. A slap on the woman's face. Teeth and blood spurted out of her mouth. The scream stopped abruptly. Stop barking. Lin Xian squatted in front of the woman, who asked you to bring someone here to kill me. The woman's face turned pale in pain and her eyes were closed tightly. Keep silent. I just like your unruly look. The smile on Lin Xian's face turned into laughter and he stretched out his hand. Click. Click. The woman's two arms were severed. There was no screaming this time. Because the woman had passed out from the pain. The human body's tolerance for pain has its limits. When this limit is exceeded, the body's self-defense kicks in. For example, your brain will force you to shut down. Prevent humans from dying in severe pain. But... bang! Lin Xian kicked the woman under the arm. A heart-rending scream that was unbearable to hear. The woman was forced to turn on her phone. I don't want to torture you, because it makes no sense at all, and I'm not a pervert. Lin Xian put away the smile on his face and looked at the woman's face full of endless pain and despair. I'll give you one last chance. Tell me, who asked you to come here and kill me? Yes. The woman finally couldn't bear the pain and was about to speak. Suddenly, Lin Xian's expression changed and his body moved sideways. Bang, a bullet came. The woman's head exploded. The three Liquor Country policemen were frightened and ran away. Lin Xian stood up and looked into the distance, high in the sky. 400 meters away. There is an armed helicopter and a sniper doing bolt-pulling actions. Just when he was about to aim at the second target through the sniper scope and lock onto Lin Xian. Instantly, the sniper's eyes widened. Seeing Lin Xian standing on the ground, holding an exaggerated sniper rifle in one hand. The sniper was instantly scared out of his wits. He wanted to dodge. Boom! The sniper in Lin Xian's hand fired. A terrifying 12.7 mm bullet was like breaking through the void. It instantly shattered the sniper scope and pierced the sniper's eyes. It crushed his head, and exploded. The death of the sniper scared the driver and the people in the helicopter. The next second, the sniper rifle in Lin Xian's hand exploded again. Boom, the bullet flew. But the target of the attack was not the glass of the helicopter. Because this kind of glass is bulletproof glass, it can definitely withstand the penetration of 12.7 mm bullets. It was also not the fuselage of the helicopter. Those who know the thickness of the armor of military helicopters know. Lin Xian aimed and shot at the rocket hive of the helicopter. This is a launcher that can carry 21 small rockets. Many armed helicopters are equipped with this hive rocket. What will happen when a 12.7 mm bullet hits it? No consequences. However, Lin Xian fired 3 shots in a row. All hit the rocket hive. Empty the sniper magazine. Boom! The explosion occurred. It turned into a terrifying huge fireball. The entire rocket hive exploded, shattering the armed helicopter. It seemed that an invisible beast bit the helicopter. It tore it to pieces. Only half of the helicopter fell from the sky. With a bang, it hit a building. The 3 police officers of Juhua country were stunned and dumbfounded. The sniper rifle actually shot down the armed helicopter. Can you believe it? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun. Chapter 296. The moment he put down the sniper rifle, Lin Xian felt a sense of clear thoughts in his heart. It's like someone scolded you, and you just punched him. Who the hell is nagging you? A real man is straightforward. Mueller and the other 2 policemen felt like there were 10,000 alpacas running through their hearts. It's impossible to describe their current mood. You can also see that they want to kill me and silence you, by the way, disguising it as a terrorist attack. Lin Xian looked at them and said in German with gloating, "You don't have much time left." The latter sentence is not a joke. If a country wants to kill you, in the face of the crushing of the state machine, how can individual forces compete? Lin Xian, a cheater, can't do it. Fortunately, the other party did not kill him openly. He also knew to disguise a terrorist attack. If the people of Juhua country were to show their carriages and horses, they would kill him. Don't talk about cheating. Even gods can kill you. Mueller nodded with a complicated expression. How could they not understand Lin Xian's words? The only chance to survive now is to quickly release the law enforcement video. Let everyone know that they were attacked by a terrorist attack, and let others know that they were in legitimate defense. Maybe there is still a little chance of survival. Why say a little? The premise is that Juhua country admits and does not confuse right and wrong. If some people in Juhua country bite you in return, say they are terrorists, Juhua country is eliminating terrorists. What will you do to deal with it? Is it you who is big-mouthed, or is it a country that is big-mouthed? Is there anyone who is not clear about the face of Westerners? Never use your bottom line to guess the shamelessness of some people. Those people sometimes even eat the shit they have pulled. Goodbye. Lin Xian took a last look at Mueller and turned away. Don't run and stay to die. Under the watch of Mueller and 3 policemen, Lin Xian robbed a car on the road and drove away. Boss, he is using us. The expression of a policeman kept changing, and the other policeman nodded. I know. Mueller's face was gloomy and helpless. As the police king, his brain is not for nothing. Lin Xian was clearly using them to spread the videos in the law enforcement recorder. Because Lin Xian is a dragon, no one may believe those videos. But they are different, they are from Juhua country, and they are police. Others can't turn black and white. But, knowing that Lin Xian is using them, they still have to obey. Otherwise, they will die. This is also to protect their own safety. It is also their only way to survive. Unless, they are willing to die for Juhua country. Being a cannon fodder and an innocent ghost, dying is worthless. Can they be willing? A car was speeding on the road. With a bang, it broke through the guardrail on the road and crashed into the door of a shopping mall. Lin Xian got out of the car and rushed in. First, he found a mall staff member and pointed his gun at him. Asked where the monitoring room was. Then, he rushed into the monitoring room and destroyed all the monitoring equipment. Confirmed that all the monitoring equipment in the entire mall was ineffective. Finally, Lin Xian rushed to the underground parking lot. Entered the city drainage system. Every large city needs an underground pipeline network for sewage discharge and flood discharge. Otherwise, the whole city may be flooded by a random rainstorm. This kind of urban drainage system is a huge project. It's like building an underground palace underground, like an underground maze. Why does Lin Xian understand this? He is a policeman, and his job is to catch bad guys. In his previous life, he once chased a suspect, and the other party actually escaped to the city drainage system and hid in it for 2 months. You heard it right, 2 months. At that time, all the criminal police thought that this guy had evaporated. I can't figure out how a living person disappeared from the city. Finally, it was a criminal policeman who accidentally saw a worker repairing the underground drainage. He asked everyone if the suspect could be hiding underground. Then the police were mobilized to check the city's underground drainage system. The suspect was found. The suspect was not only hiding underground, but also in a small warehouse where tools were stored. There were also a lot of mineral water, instant noodles, and oxygen cylinders inside. At that time, many criminal policemen were in a state of shock and MMP. It was simply indescribable. Now, Lin Xian played the role of a fugitive and followed suit, hiding underground. Why not contact the Longguo Consulate General, or go directly to the Consulate General? Let's make a bet. Now, there are countless people waiting for him outside the Longguo Consulate General area. Moreover, the communication facilities in the Longguo Consulate General should be paralyzed. Believe it or not, if Lin Xian makes a phone call, he will definitely not be able to reach the Longguo Consulate General. Instead, he will call some Zhuoguo intelligence personnel. Then, his position will be exposed. Even Lin Xian dare not use satellite communication. Let's put it this way. Anything you can think of, the security personnel of Zhuhua country can think of. That's what they do for a living. Playing tricks with security personnel is no different from committing suicide. So, there is no need to think about contacting the Longguo Consulate General. Lin Xian did not expect the Longguo Consulate General to help him. And Lin Xian did not hide underground all the time. Instead, he used the city's underground drainage network to temporarily hide his traces. How effective is it when a police king plays anti-reconnaissance? That is quite terrifying. Because Lin Xian knows all the tracking methods. He also knows all the methods that the Zhuoguo military and police can think of. That is why it is said that if a policeman commits a crime, it will become very scary and become a nightmare for his colleagues. Midnight. The stars are dim. The world seems to be shrouded in a thick and colorful darkness. A sewage manhole cover was quietly flipped. A flexible figure like a civet cat jumped up. Quickly entered a residential area and investigated a little. Came to a residential building, climbed to the 3rd floor, and used the window to enter a house. Lin Xian's super hearing allowed him to confirm that there was no one in the house. But there were signs of life inside. Lin Xian took a bath in the dark as if he were entering his own home and found a set of clothes. Then he found some food to fill his stomach, and then went to a computer and turned it on. Waited to enter the desktop and connect to the network. Lin Xian opened a browser. Entered a special website and downloaded a tool. Then clicked on the tool and jumped directly into a page. Looked at a password dialog box that popped up on the monitor. Lin Xian pondered for a while and entered a password with strange symbols. Almost instantly entered a dark web. The dark web that belongs exclusively to the Special Criminal Case Task Force. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 297. The moment he entered the dark web, a dialog box popped up. A line of words appeared. Head. Lin Xian typed with a smile, nonsense. Ha 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 ha, we knew you were fine. The video dialog box appeared. Showing Zhan Sheiyang's not-so-serious face. Behind him stood the members of the task force. What's going on outside? Lin Xian picked up the microphone and asked with a smile. People from Zhuhua country said you were attacked by a terrorist, 7 policemen died, and some terrorists were shot dead. Wang Meng put away his smile, his face solemn. They also said you were missing and were being searched. Is that so? Lin Xian breathed a sigh of relief. It was done by people from Zhuhua country, right? Guo Su said coldly. There are no fools in the Special Criminal Case Task Force. He also guessed that it was done by people from Zhuhua country. It is likely to prevent Lin Xian from coming into contact with the things left by Wang Jing. It is also to prevent those things from being taken back to Longguo by Lin Xian. Yeah. Lin Xian nodded. I'm quite worried that they will label me a terrorist. Of course. The other party can also use the excuse of looking for him to make him disappear silently. At that time, just tell Longguo, only one body was found. What can you do to Zhuhua? There are too many ways to kill a person silently. I don't have time to talk nonsense now, send me a comprehensive map of Zhuhua. Lin Xian said quickly, there is also the contact information of the National Security Bureau, and I need their cooperation when necessary. By the way, tell Lu Yan not to tell my sister about my situation in Zhuhua. Speaking of the Mu sisters, a trace of tenderness flashed in his eyes. Sometimes even Lin Xian himself felt that he was quite perverted. When dealing with other women, it seems that he has never been merciful. Only when facing his mother and 2 sisters, he will be controlled to death. This is also good. He doesn't have much tenderness. Just leave it to the 3 most important women in his life. In the blink of an eye, half an hour passed. Lin Xian browsed all the maps of Zhuhua country, including some special maps obtained by Zhan Xiaoyang using hacking technology. At the same time, Zhan Xiaoyang also used his technology to publish the Zhuhua country police law enforcement recorder video that Lin Xian gave him through some channels. Spread throughout Zhuhua country and all over the world. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that the special operations team that attacked Lin Xian and the police is not a terrorist. As for who it is, everyone knows it. This is also a warning to Zhuhua country. Don't think that everyone has no idea. Longguo must give an explanation. Some things, no matter how you deny them, whether there is evidence or not, it doesn't matter. At the level of countries, it's all about having your own evidence. Lin Xian is still alive now. If he really died, you can see how Longguo will retaliate. However, will he really die? Even Lin Xian himself felt that his superiors sent him here this time, not just to investigate the case. What is the purpose? His expression gradually became strange. Is Zhuhua country a little too rampant recently? That's why Longguo pulled out his knife? Just like shocking the Special Operations Department. Want to shock Zhuhua country? If that's the case, does the boss above think too highly of him? Who gave the order? With the Lu family and the Mu family around, who would give such an order? Suddenly, Lin Xian's expression froze. The figure of his grandfather appeared in his mind. Damn, Lin Xian looked like he had eaten shit. It couldn't really be his grandfather's order? The reason is here. The boss above looked at the face of the Lu family and the Mu family. It's impossible to throw him abroad to cause trouble. So, in addition to the orders of the Lu family and the Mu family, who else? It turned out to be a relative, who stabbed him in the back without hesitation. Lin Xian wanted to cry but had no tears. But think about it, it seems that there is nothing wrong. The more powerful you are, the more selfless you should be. From ancient times to the present, many big guys will play this way. Send your relatives and descendants to the most dangerous place. If you can't do this, are you worthy of sitting in that position? But I'm still a child, don't you think this is cruel? After a few seconds, Lin Xian was heartbroken and could hardly breathe. I'm still too young. I didn't know how deep the water was, and I thought it was a good thing to be the second generation. As a result, I stepped into a trap. When I go home this time, I must take my two sisters away. I thought so in my heart, but would he really be willing to take off his police uniform and military uniform at that time? Suddenly, Lin Xian came back to his senses and felt that the extremely dangerous feeling was approaching him. Is it coming? He raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth. Lin Xian never underestimated others. He knew that the people of Zhuhua country would find him soon. Just like in Long country, he could find those criminals. It's just a matter of time. Wait until I get back. Lin Xian looked at the entire special criminal case task force on the monitor. If I can't get back, don't worry, I'll take care of your sister-in-law, Zhang Xiaoyang said with a sly smile. Get lost. Lin Xian laughed and scolded, giving him a middle finger. Just for what you said, I have to go back. Ha 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 ha. Everyone in the task force laughed, waiting for him to say this. But after laughing, the entire task force stood at attention and saluted. You must come back safely. Lin Xian had a complicated expression and raised his hand to return the salute. Don't worry, as long as I don't want to die. No one can stop me. Turn off the computer. Bang, a punch. Punch through the computer case. Take out the memory and hard drive. Lin Xian broke all the memory chips and twisted them into powder. Doing this can prevent some people from using the computer to track. It was also taught to him by Zhang Xiaoyang, a computer genius. Now, Lin Xian slowly stood up, shook his neck, and stretched his limbs. An astonishing murderous aura emerged from his body. A pair of eyes gradually became devoid of human emotions, numb and cold. Let's see whether you sent more people or I killed faster. Outside the residential building, a group of fully armed personnel have surrounded the residential building. A special operations team has reached the top of the building and descended using ropes to reach the fourth floor. With just one order, they can break in through the third floor window. Another special operations team entered from the main entrance and arrived on the third floor, ready to attack at any time. Action! Outside the building, a commander standing next to the explosion-proof vehicle gave the order. Bang, bang, bang. 4 soldiers holding some kind of launcher were in the front and back buildings below. They fired at the third floor windows at the same time. One after another, stun bombs and smoke bombs smashed the windows through the launcher. Entered a household on the third floor. Boom, 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 stun bombs exploded. Smoke bombs began to spread immediately afterwards. In 5 seconds, the hall, bedroom, bathroom, were all gray. All covered by pungent tear gas smoke. Boom, the door was knocked open and the special operations personnel rushed in. At the same time, the special operations personnel outside the building entered through the window. It was like a dragnet. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun. Chapter 298. When special operations personnel rushed into the living room and bedroom. Where are people? Their eyes widened in disbelief. How could a living person disappear? However, the sofa in the living room flew up and hit a group of special operations personnel. Boom! The violent and terrifying force knocked 7 or 8 people upside down. Lin Xian, who was rushing forward from the sofa, took the opportunity to grab the micro-punch in the hand of a soldier. Da-da-da. Gunfire sputtered like a violent storm. As Lin Xian's arm moved, there seemed to be no recoil. Wherever you point, you hit. Bullets exploded in the faces of countless special operations personnel, and blood splattered everywhere. This attack method was taught to him by Guo Su. I remember that Lin Xian asked Guo Su for advice. It's like the Mozambique shooting method of 2 shots in the chest and 1 shot in the head. Is it powerful? As a result, Guo Su almost laughed like a pig. He said, in a real battlefield, who doesn't have a body armor? And almost all of the bulletproof vests have magazines inserted into them. There is a layer of magazine protection, as well as ballistic plates. When you hit someone on the chest, are you sure you're not looking for death? The most effective shots are to the face and legs. There was little defense in these two places. Military bullets are not as powerful as police bullets. Hit in the face. Both can easily blow off each other's heads. A blow to the leg can also cause attrition. Don't talk about it, you can't aim correctly. Then why are you going to the battlefield? Are you going to bring warmth? Guo Su also warned Lin Xian. People who shoot in the chest are always the stupidest people. Don't believe in any bullshit Mozambique shooting methods. Otherwise, you will be the one who dies. Blood was splashing and Lin Xian was moving. A 30-round magazine was emptied. Around him fell a group of people who had been shot in the face. It was also the moment when the magazine was empty. Lin Xian threw himself on the ground to avoid the rain of bullets above his head. It was so fast that it was difficult for the naked eye to keep up, walking through gunfire. Like a killing machine, harvesting lives one after another. Just 20 seconds. The room suddenly became silent. Lin Xian stood in the smoke and shook the blood on his hands. Without stopping, the body rushed out of the room and into the corridor. Then, he rushed upstairs. There are all soldiers downstairs. Do you want to go down there and die? Running all the way. Lin Xian came to the top floor, jumped onto the safety passage, and came to the rooftop of the building. Chug tug tug. The rifle in his hand exploded, and 2 special forces members on the rooftop were shot and killed. Lin Xian quickly came to the edge of the rooftop and looked at the rooftop of the residential building in the distance. The visual distance is about 12 meters. Quickly back up, half crouch, and start running. In an instant, Lin Xian's body seemed to be carrying an afterimage, as fast as lightning. When it was about to reach the edge of the rooftop, it instantly ejected into the air. It was like flying through the air, spanning a distance of 12 meters. Bang, my legs stepped on the rooftop. Still not stopping, I started running again, sprinting, taking off. When he landed, he had already appeared on the rooftop of the 3rd residential building. At the same time, he also escaped from the encirclement of the army below. You want to arrest me? Lin Xian sneered. Jump off the rooftop and fall from the sky. Bang. His hands grasped the 4th floor window sill. Buffer, let go. Bang, Lin Xian's feet hit the ground. The body squats down, releases the force, and stands up. Turn around and run, all at once. Lin Xian rushed out of the residential area, came to the street, and entered a business district. As he ran, his face gradually became serious. He looked up suddenly. He discovered that there was a drone camera in the sky focusing on him. He raised his hand and grabbed the rifle on his back. Bang, burst. The drone at a height of 100 meters was instantly blown up and turned into a pile of parts. But that feeling of being stared at is still there. Not only that, Lin Xian also felt that he was locked by terrifying auras. Soldiers. Running all the way, Lin Xian began to look for a suitable place to fight. Then he ran into an underground parking lot. It looked like he had run into a dead end. Actually not. He did this deliberately and did not give some people a chance to cooperate in a sneak attack. It goes without saying how terrifying the soldiers are. If you give them a chance to cooperate or make a sneak attack. Even Lin Xian couldn't stand it. After entering the parking lot. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets were fired from the rifle in his hand, shattering each monitor. Sudden. Lin Xian jumped up on the spot and onto the steel frame of the ceiling. Close your eyes, inhale, exhale. Gradually, it became as motionless as a sculpture. It's better to fit into the ceiling. The murderous aura in his body also disappeared without a trace. Beings like warriors can sense danger. If he shows murderous intent, will be discovered by the soldiers immediately. Less than a minute. One after another, ghostly figures quietly entered the underground parking lot. Move quickly through the parking lot. While sneaking, he observed the ground and formed a defensive formation. They have the same breathing, the same steps, the same eyes. Dawson's cold gaze struck everything in the parking lot. They have 3 kinds of weapons on them: a light sniper rifle, a submachine gun, and a self-defense pistol. This means that they are all versatile soldiers who are proficient in medium, long, and short-range combat. There are 10 soldiers, starting from the moment they appear. A real killing atmosphere covers the parking lot. Suddenly, a soldier stopped, bent down, and knelt on the ground. His eyes were cold, and his face was pressed against the ground. A pair of shoe prints were found on the ground. His action attracted the attention of other soldiers. Followed closely. Everyone found that the face of this partner suddenly changed color. "Get out of the way!" The kneeling man suddenly roared and wanted to dodge. Unfortunately, it was too late. Perhaps the soldiers can predict the enemy's shooting. That also requires seeing the enemy's muzzle and the shooting action. When you can't see the enemy, can't see the muzzle, can't sense the danger, they are not much better than ordinary soldiers or soldiers. Even, they can't avoid the sudden bullets. Bang, 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 bang. A terrifying gunfire appeared above the heads of the 10 soldiers. There was a rifle that could fire 7 or 8 bullets in 1 second. There was also a pistol that could fire 5 bullets in 1 second. In an instant, 8 soldiers were shot in the head. A figure shot down from the ceiling like a ghost and appeared in front of the 2 dodging soldiers. Bang, another 5 shots in 1 second. 5 bullets blocked all the space for the soldier to dodge, up, down, left, right, and in the middle. Despair appeared in the eyes of the retreating soldier. The bullet also pierced his right eye and opened his skull. At the same time, Lin Xian's fist had already been swung. Like a cannonball fired from a barrel. Bang, it hit the chest of the last soldier hard. The ceramic bulletproof plate of the bulletproof vest was broken, pierced, and sunken. The sternum of the soldier was directly shattered and sunken. Lin Xian retracted his fist and looked at the flying corpse. He let out a long breath. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kisiun Zhong. Chapter 299. Frankfurt is in chaos. The entire city was blocked by countless military police. Teams of police and soldiers searched the city for terrorists. Official announcement. There is a group of terrorists hiding in Frankfurt and carrying out terrorist activities. Nearly 50 soldiers have died. Frankfurt Cathedral. Located not far from the Roman Forum. One of the most important buildings in the Holy Roman Empire. This church was also the place where many Holy Roman emperors were crowned. And in a storage room inside this church, Lin Xian was sleeping soundly. Until, the sound of the door opening was heard, and a figure walked in. At the same time, Lin Xian's eyes opened instantly. This is an ordinary middle-aged man, plainly dressed. His face is engraved with the traces of time, but he is never showy. As if silently carrying the weight of life. It's better to be like the kind of person who can be thrown into a crowd and not be discovered. The other party glanced at Lin Xian. He nodded and came closer. Pick up the suitcase and place it on the floor. After opening it, there were some strange things inside. For example, Lin Xian saw a mask. Silicone mask. The other party took out a wet wipe and wiped Lin Xian's face. Peel off a piece of film from the inside of the mask. He put the mask on Lin Xian's face again. In an instant, Lin Xian's handsome face disappeared and turned into an ordinary face. The middle-aged man looked like a conscientious makeup artist, taking out some cosmetics. Start modifying Lin Xian's face. Until this fake face and Lin Xian's face were completely integrated. He took out another watch and handed it over. Lin Xian took it and put it on. Your face can only last 48 hours. The middle-aged man said in a low tone, the watch has functions such as positioning and communication, but it will be scrapped after 48 hours. Lin Xian nodded. Does it mean he only has 48 hours left? The middle-aged man took out some identification documents and handed them to Lin Xian. The people above said there is no need to prepare weapons for you. The middle-aged man smiled and said, I guess you don't need it. You are such good people. Lin Xian also smiled. Nearly 50 soldiers died, including 10 combat soldiers. The middle-aged man had a complicated expression, the other person is frightened and angry. You have to be careful. What does it mean? Lin Xian looked directly into the other person's eyes. The middle-aged man was silent for a while, with strange eyes. I don't have any orders, but someone asked me to pass on a message to you, make them hurt. Ha ha. Lin Xian laughed softly, in other words, let me play freely, right? Then I don't know. The middle-aged man shook his head with a smile. Anyway, I only give you 48 hours, and then you have to go to a dock in Heidelberg. We have already prepared a ship for you to leave the country of hops. Understood. Lin Xian laughed and joked, I didn't expect that a policeman like me would one day sneak into the country. Everyone on Earth knows that smuggling is illegal. Doesn't he know the law and break the law? I can't help it, what you did is too scary. The middle-aged man looked at Lin Xian as if he were looking at a monster. 10 soldiers, no matter which country they belong to, will cause pain. And a person who can kill 10 soldiers single-handedly will also make many people feel hurt, can't sleep. Soldiers are a special and terrifying group of beings. So what is a being that can kill 10 soldiers? Facing this more terrifying existence, let me ask you, who is not afraid? Anyone in the Hop country who knows the inside story is going to be scared crazy at this time. Are you afraid that if this kind of person becomes a killer, he will find his way to your head? Don't talk about guards, military. Can you stop people from coming to kill you? What else? Lin Xian continued to ask. According to reliable information, 50 soldiers entered Frankfurt. The middle-aged man looked solemn and said, be careful, we can't help you. 50 soldiers, Lin Xian took a breath. Are you going to pile him to death? There is no need to explain why there are so many soldiers in the Hop country. A birthplace of soldiers during World War II. Today, it is also the country with the most soldiers in the world. I have the confidence to use 50 soldiers to play with you. I'll kill you. Remember, 48 hours, Heidelberg. The middle-aged man stood up and saluted. Lin Xian stood up and returned the greeting. The middle-aged man is gone. Lin Xian looked at the leaving figure of the Dragon Kingdom special agent with complicated eyes. Said before. Special service is in charge of the outside, and special service is in charge of the inside. It's about a group of special agents from the National Security Department. They are working silently for the country. Their work is invisible to ordinary people. Ordinary people don't know what they did. Even if they died, ordinary people would not know. There are always some people. We are marching forward with heavy burdens for the prosperity and rise of our motherland. This kind of person is the real unsung hero. The night is as rich as ink. It seems that there are countless unknown secrets hidden in this boundless darkness. There is a food street 2 kilometers away from a certain research institute. Lin Xian was sitting in a Chinese restaurant eating Lanzhou ramen. His eyes were fixed on the two big trees outside the floor-to-ceiling window. A long while. Retracting his gaze, he looked at the two thin pieces of beef in the bowl, and thought to himself, MMP. No, your Lanzo ramen has been opened abroad, but it is still so shit. Let's just say that you can't cut the beef thicker? Then, Lin Xian gave the restaurant owner a thumbs up. Knowing that his vision is small. Being able to treat everyone equally is also a virtue. Lin Xian lowered his head to eat. In 5 minutes, a bowl of noodles was eaten up. Check out. Lin Xian walked out of the restaurant and disappeared into the night. At night, 2 o'clock. A certain research institute, apartment building. It is also the apartment where Longguo scientist Wang Jing was killed. A figure climbed silently on the outer wall of the building, like Spider-Man, and climbed to the rooftop. Like a ghost, he came to the safe entrance to the building. Lin Xian lay down, listened for a while, and confirmed that there was no one below, then opened the safe entrance and jumped down. Why is it so hard? Because there are surveillance cameras throughout the building. The monitoring room is still on the top floor of the building. If you want to do something unscrupulously in the building, you must control the monitoring room first. Otherwise, you will be discovered by the monitoring personnel. What is Lin Xian doing here? Killing people. Why did Wang Jing, the top scientist of Longguo, die? Because of the research results of the scientific research team. They want to monopolize the results. Since Wang Jing is dead, Lin Xian decided to let the entire scientific research team be buried with him. Don't talk about killing innocent people. When an avalanche occurs, no snowflake is innocent. Lin Xian walked into the corridor and walked towards the monitoring room. An hour and a half later, there were 2 monitors in the monitoring room and 8 guards in the building. And 17 top scientists of a scientific research team and more than 20 team members. All died tragically, and were killed. Solving the case is a little bitter, but my sister is super sweet. Author, Kissy. Chapter 300. Boom. There was a horrific explosion in the apartment building, which was engulfed in flames. To kill, you must set fire. This is the rule of the road. Standing in the distance, looking at the burning scientific research institute area, Lin Xian, who was full of blood, grinned happily. There is not much time left for him. Next target. Frankfurt, a wealthy area in the western suburbs. There are many apartments and mansions here. At 4:20 in the morning, inside a villa, a middle-aged man sleeping on a big bed was awakened by his mobile phone. He pushed away the blonde beauty in his arms and picked up the mobile phone on the bedside. Hello. Director, something happened. There was an explosion at the XX scientific research base. All senior scientific researchers of a certain scientific research team were killed. We found that there should be only one murderer. He carried out targeted assassinations. The other party's abilities are very terrifying. Director, next we. Shut up. The middle-aged man scolded his subordinates and hung up the phone. He actually wanted to say something. But you can't, you have to end the call. Because at this time, there was a person sitting in the bedroom. Holding a pistol, the muzzle was pointed at him. Still looking at him with a smile on his face. Brandt, head of the Frankfurt branch of the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution. Lin Xian, who was sitting on the chair, smiled and asked, "Is that right?" Brandt's forehead was covered with fine beads of sweat, and his heartbeat was beating like thunder. At this time, his hands were clasped together, showing his inner tension and uneasiness. "Actually, whatever your name is and what you do have nothing to do with me," Lin Xian asked, "as long as you answer me who wants to kill me." Kill him. Brandt seemed to have forgotten to breathe, and his pupils were shrinking crazily. With the help of dim lights, stare hard at the person in front of you. It seems like something terrible has been discovered. It seems that you are very smart. You recognized me right away. Lin Xian touched his current face and said, I am very satisfied with my current face. Finally, I don't have to be told that I rely on my handsomeness to survive. Brand. Are you sure you're not trying to make me laugh? You now represent the Dragon Kingdom. Brand's tone was extremely serious. Please watch your words. Watch my words. Lin Xian stood up, walked to the bedside, looked condescendingly at the director of the Federal Constitutional Protection Service in front of him, and smiled, I pay attention to you, male gobe. Brand. Sudden. The blonde woman who seemed to be sleeping suddenly jumped up. He was completely naked and kicked Lin Xian in the head with one thigh. The neck was thrown back. Lin Xian let the woman's foot kick in front of him. When the woman just turned around, she was ready to continue the attack. Puff! A subsonic bullet erupted from the barrel of the gun and ejected through the silencer. It hit the woman between the eyebrows. Like the impact of a heavy hammer, the woman turned over and fell. What is a subsonic bullet? To put it bluntly, it is a silent bullet, a bullet whose initial velocity is lower than the speed of sound. Its characteristic is that the emission sound is small. Can help special forces or secret service personnel achieve special fire such as hiding, concealment, and assassination. Just like in the movies, if you just install a silencer on a pistol, you can achieve a brainless plot of silencing the gun. Or putting the gun on the pillow to silence it, all of which rub the audience's IQ. I guess even those idiot writers and directors don't know what subsonic bullets are. Neither Lin Xian nor Brandt looked at the blonde woman's body. It's like the death of an insignificant ant. Brandt can ignore life, but not including his own life. His eyes finally revealed fear and uneasiness. It was as if an invisible hand was holding his throat tightly, and his body was shaking involuntarily. It's not my order, it's the people above. I hate it when people lie to me. Lin Xian stared at his eyes, expression, and heartbeat, distinguishing lies. Are you sure you don't cherish the opportunity I gave you and you have to answer in pain? Brandt's eyes lost their former look, leaving only despair and fear. There was a long silence. We didn't kill Wang Zheng. Lin Xian didn't have any surprise. I know. Well. Brandt was stunned and stunned. But you threatened him and wanted to kill him, right? Lin Xian's expression was calm. They also pushed him to a dead end, or gave him no choice at all. Either he would be loyal to the liquor country from now on, or die. Moment. Brandt's face was earth-colored, and his eyes were wide open, as if he were looking at a ghost. You guessed it right. Lin Xian sighed, that's right. Unless he is desperate and unable to contact the outside world, he will not choose to let the people of the Dragon Kingdom come to him in this way. Because he knows very well that you don't dare to delay his death. You must tell the Dragon Kingdom. You also don't dare to tamper with his body because it will be discovered by our Dragon Kingdom. Of course, you also know very well that he has a scientific research result that he hid, and you have tried your best to look for it, but you haven't found it. Lin Xian looked at Brandt, whose face was ashen and horrified. Is that so? Brandt was frightened by Lin Xian's analysis. It's almost infinitely closer to the truth. You killed me because you found out through the surveillance that I might have found that thing. Lin Xian sneered, you must have arranged to fake a terrorist attack, right? Brandt's face became uglier and trembled. It seems that you are right again. Lin Xian stared into his eyes, but you are indeed following orders from your superiors. Because Brandt in front of him is not worthy of commanding 10 soldiers to help him kill people. Soldiers of this level are not easy to command by anyone. Tell me, who is the master behind you? Lin Xian's gun was against his head. Yes. Brandt shuddered, his body shaking like a sieve. Director of the 8th Department, Rena Claire. 8th Department? Lin Xian was surprised. Thinking quickly. Before 2016, the Federal Constitutional Protection Bureau of Jiahua Country had a total of 7 departments. 22 years later, the 7 departments became 7 major departments, and then a new department was added. The 8th department is also the most mysterious department of the Federal Constitutional Protection Bureau. Suddenly, Lin Xian's heart trembled. He sensed a series of terrifying auras appearing outside the villa. Soldiers, countless soldiers, densely packed soldiers. He was surrounded. Why did the other party know that he was looking for Brent? Lin Xian's brain crashed. Then he heard a familiar yet unfamiliar voice outside the villa. Lin Xian, I know you are inside, surrender. Who is it? Muller, the police king of Jiahua Country. Heh, Lin Xian laughed softly. Sure enough, the only one who can deal with the old bitch is the old bitch. If you want to capture a police king, you must have the police king. Someone has something.